Terry Waite, great to talk to you. These are really tense moments, aren't they? These final moments, potentially, of a release. Can you take us back to your experience and what you felt like going through what you thought hopefully was freedom, but presumably you weren't going to bet any money on it?
Well, you're never out until you're finally out of that airspace. I remember many years ago when I was bringing people home from Tehran who'd been in prison for quite a long time. We were driving to the airport, and we got to the airport. We went through all the checks. The plane came in. We were ready to board, and then suddenly we were told, sorry, you're not going. We all had to go back into Tehran. And I took the issue up again with the people who were holding us, and really got quite angry for the first time for a long time. And eventually we did get out. But it was a very tense moment. And I just at the moment feel, well, I'm so delighted, as everyone will be, that Nazanin is now at the airport, so I believe. And I shall just breathe a sigh of relief when she is back home with her family.
It is incredibly cruel, isn't it, to get someone's hopes up and then dash them so brutally. And clearly it's something that affected you. And it wouldn't be the first time that she's had her hopes dashed, would it?
It wouldn't. And but the signs are good now that at least she's got to the airport. And for the past, I mean, it's been such a long journey. 6 years since she was detained. During that time, she and I have been able to talk to each other. We've spoken on over the internet. She's been able to do that in the last year. We've been able to exchange emails. And there's not been a great deal that she could say. She's just been waiting. And I know what it's like to wait. You know, I myself had 5 years in captivity and solitary confinement in Lebanon, not in Iran. And one has to learn how to live one day at a time. But it's been particularly difficult for Nazanin because of having a young daughter who, and she said to me on many an occasion, she said, you know, my daughter's growing up and I'm missing all those years. And again, that's something I can sympathize with and empathize with, because when I was taken, my son was in his early teens. When I came out, he was a young man. And do you know, I looked at him and I wouldn't have recognized him. The years have gone by, those years have been missed. Well, you can make them up in some ways, but you can never recover them properly. And she has lost something undoubtedly, but she'll make that up because she has a very loving and caring husband and, of course, a daughter who'll be delighted to see her.
And I suppose in terms of timings, technology has changed so much in those years since you were imprisoned and now with Nazanin. She has, at least, as you say, been able to be in contact with Gabriella and with Richard on Skype and on video phone, so she can see her daughter and her daughter can see her at least. That must have been some comfort to her.
Yeah, in some ways, yes. It is a comfort to be able to have that degree of contact. But I used to wonder about that myself when I was, you know, in isolation. And it's a mixed blessing, to be perfectly honest, because you see how someone whom you care for and love is growing and changing. And it sort of heightens the experience of not being with them, if you can understand me. And it's a mixed blessing, but it's been a help to her, I suppose, on the positive side. It's been a help to be able to have that degree of contact and to be able to see her daughter grow. And she's going to face now difficult times in some ways, because the process of readjustment after being separated, it does take time. So much has changed in the world. The family will, of course, her daughter will have grown up. They've been through all sorts of experiences, and she'll need just to take time to readjust. There's going to be an enormous publicity and interest, and my advice to her at this stage would be, make your one statement when you come out, make your one statement to the press, and then retreat for a while and begin to build your family life once again. And she'll do that, I'm quite sure. She's a lovely, gentle, kind person, as many Iranians are.
And in terms of that recovery, as you said, managing the press when you get back, coping with the media glare after being away from it for so long, and then the recovery itself, coming to terms with what you have missed, what you have lost, and how your life is different, is being held in captivity something you can ever recover from, do you truly think?
Unquestionably, you can, without a doubt. I've always believed that, suffering, and you do suffer in captivity, of course you do, but I've always believed that suffering need not destroy. Within it, very often you find the seeds of something new and creative, and you can turn suffering round. And I'm quite sure that that can happen in Nazanin's case, that of course there will be difficulties, but all sorts of new opportunities now open up. She has a new depth of understanding. She was, very well versed in many affairs before she was captured, but she'll have a new depth of understanding now. It can increase one's empathy for people who suffer. In my case, it persuaded me to give up my regular occupation and to give my time to organizations such as Hostage International, which I founded, and the homeless and so on. I wouldn't have had the courage to move away from a salaried occupation and take my chance in doing what I did without having had that experience of deprivation. So creative things can emerge from suffering if you have the right attitude, and I'm quite sure that Nazanin has the right attitude and will make it a creative experience. But it sounds crazy to say that, but it's true.
Well, anything that gets you through, really, I think. Terry Waite, really great to talk to you, and thanks so much for giving us your experience. And it's great to know that you've been in contact with her and that you feel that she will manage and cope when she gets out, if she gets out today. Thank you.
Thank you.